What's going on, guys? Echo here, back again to talk more about the new DBFZ patch. And today we are talking about our old buddy, Captain Ginyu. Ginyu has seen a lot of changes over the years, but I have to say this is the biggest patch for him yet. I would dare say he is the winner of this patch. I'm actually kind of confident in saying that. I've seen most of the characters' buffs in action, and I'm pretty confident in saying that Ginyu is the winner. I think his changes are that substantial and that crazy, but instead of talking about it, let's take a look at it. So the first change is Ginyu's standing light attack. It can now be canceled into itself. By holding back and pressing light, you can actually chain this move into itself. And much like I explained in Zamasu's video, this seems like a small change, but it's actually quite drastic because this greatly enhances your ability to stagger. Now you have an extra option to stagger before going for a throw, continuing your offense, hit confirming into your auto combo, and in a more advanced situation, you now have the ability to utilize the 4L option select. While definitely not the flashiest change out there, it is a highly welcome one. Next up is the change to his auto combo. Now this is where things start to get crazy. If you complete Ginyu's auto combo, it now triggers a vacuum effect on block. Vacuum meaning it literally pulls the opponent closer to you, which, as you may have noticed, means they are pulled out of the corner. So Ginyu now has a way of drawing the opponent out of the corner to perform solo mix-ups. And while we are still in the process of discovering different ways to utilize this, one of the easiest and most simplistic ways is by simply summoning. Cover your auto combo with an assist and use your summon, and Guldo will now come out in that small space in the corner. This is a very interesting change. It's very creative, and I'm sure in the future it will have a lot of applications. The next one is a bit of a meme. This is the most memed button in the game. For some reason, this button has literally been updated and buffed in every patch. First, they made the ability to charge it. Then they made the ability for you to be able to move it. Then they made the ability for it to go through key blasts. Then they gave it the ability to steal the corner. And finally, they've given it one more buff. Ginyu Stand Heavy is now invincible to low attacks. I can't even stress to you how hilarious this is. If you saw my patch note reaction video, I literally just bursted into laughter the moment I read this. We've been joking about this on the channel and on the stream for a while now, that they were gonna do another Ginyu H buff, and the madmen, they actually did it. Like, this is so funny. Realistically, I'm not sure how often this will come into play during a match. The most likely situation where this will be useful is against characters whose either standing lights or crouching lights are lows. In a situation like that, it would actually be very useful because you literally cannot be interrupted. But for the characters, a situation where I can see this being useful is against characters whose standard pokes start low, because you'll literally just pass through it. However, against characters who have mid auto combos, I believe it would be less useful. It's very situational, but also just hilarious, and I'm definitely glad to have this buff. Okay, now this is where things get absolutely bonkers. So the next set of changes we're going to talk about all at once because they pretty much all go together. So most of you have probably already seen this by now because it's just so insane and so unbelievable. But they made the decision to make Ginyu's 5S completely invulnerable to Ki Blasts. And not just his 5S, but the character who starts the rotation, Guldo, is also completely invincible to Ki Blasts, which looks like this. This is, in my opinion, the biggest buff that any character in this game has ever received. I can't even state how insane this is. In my wildest dreams, I never would have believed that they would do this. I wouldn't have even ever asked for this. Like, if I had asked for this a few weeks ago, people would have called me insane. But the fact that Ginyu can actually pass through Ki Blast is such a gigantic buff that it's like, I can hardly even explain it. The key to playing Ginyu has always been to set him up with assists that allow him to summon, because it's so easy to knock all of his summons off the screen with Ki Blasts. And instead of that just being his only weakness, Arxis has opted to remove the weakness altogether. So now Ginyu really doesn't have a weakness. And in a lot of situations, you won't have to spend an assist just to get a summon out. Now you'll be able to get your summons out at neutral, and your opponent will either be forced to super dash at you or just approach with buttons, and Ginyu can deal with both of those situations very easily. Like, this is the reason why I believe Ginyu is the winner of this patch. Like, this is just the craziest buff I think I've ever seen. And it does not stop at Guldo. Raccoon has received the same buff. He actually deflects Ki Blasts, which is even better because this now gives you the opportunity to cover assists. So the amount of utility you get from this is just unlimited. Not to mention, now the air version of S deflects Ki Blast. So again, if you want to cover and assist with Ginyu's body, you can do that now. Now keep in mind, this is not applied to any of the 2-3-6 summons. If you do a 2-3-6, you still get hit and they still get knocked off the screen. But I mean, that is absolutely fine because it is insanely easy to use one of these to cover the 2-3-6 summon. That is insanely easy. And that's not all. They actually went ahead and buffed Ginyu's B assist as well. Now, as we all know, Ginyu B is not only one of the most interesting assists in the game, it's also the hardest assist in the game to use properly. This is because it is not only the member rotation you have to remember, but you also have to remember an input rotation. So it's actually 12 assists with 2 rotations built in, which makes it very difficult to use in the middle of a match, and nearly impossible to use as a combo extender. So what Arxis did in the last patch was they made it give you a little bit of meter, give you 25% in the last patch. Just that right there. But in this patch, they have decided to up that now. It says key gauge increases now based on number of attacks. So what that means is, based on the input, that's how much meter you get. So for the S input, you get 25%. For the 2-3-6 input, you get 50%. And for the 2-1-4 input, you get 75%. So basically, completing one full squad rotation will net you roughly 2 bars. And if all of that wasn't crazy enough, Guldo and Raccoon still retain their Ki Blast invulnerability even as assist summons. And with that, we have covered all of Ginyu's major changes in the current Season 4 patch. Once again, I feel pretty confident in calling Ginyu the winner of this patch. You'll love to see it. It's his turn to be annoying now. Coming up next will be the visual guide for babies changes, so keep an eye out for that. Again, I'm still planning to do a full how-to-play guide for Zamasu and Baby, and possibly an updated one on what to do with Ginyu if we find some new cool stuff. So keep an eye on the channel, drop a follow if you thought this video was helpful, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.